Hello and welcome to a special feature on government plans which could introduce 24-hour Sunday shopping in England and Wales. Current Sunday trading rules were established in the Sunday Trading Act of 1994. This allows large stores to open for a maximum of 6 hours between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Sundays. Smaller stores can open all day. But in July's budget, Chancellor George Osborne announced plans to liberalise the law. Under the plans, local authorities or elected mayors will be allowed to decide Sunday opening hours for shops in their area. The government admits there are strong and diverse views on the subject and is currently speaking to concerned parties. To consider how these plans affect Christians, I'm joined by Humphrey Dobson, Deputy Director at the Christian Institute, who met with the government about the issue earlier this week. Humphrey, thank you for joining me. Now, before the election, the Conservatives said that they weren't planning to change the law. This seems to be a departure from that. Is that fair?
Absolutely right. Before the election, the Conservatives told the Keep Sunday Special campaign that they had no plans to change the law. And then, following the election, soon afterwards, the Chancellor announces his plans to go ahead with this.
And what will be the impact of this change?
Well, we're very concerned about it. It will lead to more Christians being forced to choose between their faith and their job. And it will interfere with Sunday as a day of rest and harm family life.
So earlier this week you met with the government to discuss this. How did that come about?
Well, the government launched a consultation on its plans, a very short consultation over the summer, and we responded ourselves and encouraged Christian Institute supporters to do the same. And I think when the government looked at the responses, it realised that it hadn't consulted very widely at all with Christian groups, and so it invited us to go and have a meeting.
Thank you. Who did you meet with?
Well, I met with the civil servants who are responsible for this policy on behalf of the government.
And what can you share with us about what you talked about, what you discussed there?
Well, as you would expect, they set out the government's stall. They said the plans are about increasing choice for businesses and for consumers. They also seem to believe that it will increase productivity. They revealed to us that they've actually had over 7,000 responses to the consultation, which I think they were very surprised about, actually. So I set out our opposition to the scheme. I explained the Christian teaching that a day of rest is the fourth of the 10 Commandments, that God instituted this for everyone's good, and that Christians who hold to that teaching are finding themselves under increasing pressure in the workplace. We've had an increasing number of people contacting the Institute's Legal Defence Fund in recent years with problems in this area, and I was able to share some anonymous examples with the civil servants.
But Humphrey, isn't there meant to be Sunday working protection in current law?
Yes, you're right. The problem is it's not been very effective. The examples I gave from the LDF have shown that to be true. And we're particularly concerned about the area of recruitment, where a Christian applies for a job in which Sunday working may be involved, and they flag up that they're not able to do that because of their personal belief about the Lord's Day, and they're weeded out in the recruitment process and never get the job, though of course nobody could show that was why they didn't get it. The civil servants did say that if the law's liberalised, they will maintain the existing protection, but for the reasons I've just explained, that's not satisfactory. The government is proposing to devolve the power over Sunday trading to local areas, perhaps councils or directly elected mayors, but it's not proposing to devolve employment protections as well. And I tried to explain how important this whole area of the pressure on Christians is and how their proposals simply are not up to scratch.
Will there be a wider effect on those who are not Christians?
Well, of course, there are many people who may not go to church who already feel under pressure to work on Sundays. Now, because of our Christian heritage, Sunday is the common shared day of rest in this country, and that benefits all people. It's the one day of the week where a family can be together. The Prime Minister's spoken a lot in recent years about the importance of his policies protecting and strengthening families and not damaging them. And I was able to say that they're not really applying that family test to this policy. I also said that we just think there's no popular demand for this change. A recent opinion poll found only 13% people don't believe they've sufficient opportunities to shop.
So you set out all these concerns. What was the response?
The civil servants listened attentively and took notes of what was being said, but they didn't promise to take any action or to address our concerns.
So what happens next?
Well, we wait for the government's response to the consultation, which they promise will be soon, and it's then possible they could bring forward a bill to Parliament. They said no final decision has been made on the course of action.
Humphrey Dobson, thank you for joining us. The Christian Institute will be keeping a close watch as these plans develop. You can stay up to date on this and many other issues by going to our website and by following us on Facebook and Twitter.